Hi, I'm Danny. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll walk you through what you need to know before getting your emissions test or smog test. Recently, I got my registration renewal and it had smog test required written on the top of it. I get this done every 2 years, so it really wasn't a big surprise. I never had a problem passing until now. Me not properly preparing cost me an extra $70 and a lot of hours and wasted time. Today, I'll share exactly what you need to know to help avoid the common mistakes when taking your car to the smog check station. Following my recommendations will save you time and your hard-earned money. Let's get started. The first thing is to make sure that there's no engine light on. If there is, that's going to be a for sure fail, and that needs to be fixed before attempting your emissions test. If there's no engine light on, check for fault codes. You'll need a scan tool or a code reader for this. I'm using the ThinkCar BT689 scan tool, and this thing has lifetime updates. It's a little pricey, but it's a bi-directional scan tool and it does just about everything. And with the lifetime updates, I'm going to get great value for years to come. So I feel like this is a great value. So this has no trouble codes. I'm going to exit. And you don't want to clear the fault codes or do an ECM reset. Here's why. If I go to special functions and I go to the readiness codes, these codes all need to pass before you can pass your smog test. And that's how I failed. So catalyst here, completed. EVAP, completed. O2 sensor, completed. O2 sensor heater, completed. And EGR, completed. If those say not completed or not ran yet, these need to run before you can pass your test. If you're on a budget and you just need a code reader, this works pretty good. It was about $30. I'll put a link in the description. And if you've been around my channel, you've seen the launch. This one's a bidirectional scanner. I believe it has lifetime updates also. It works pretty good. It's not very fast, but it does the job. And I've used this in plenty of my videos. Now, the difference between these two is quite a bit, the screen and the speed. I'll put links to everything in the description, and I have full video reviews on these in case you're interested. When I took my car in for a smog, I didn't check my readiness codes. If I had, I would have known that I wasn't going to pass. So I failed right away. I just assumed since it passed a couple years ago and it runs great, it was going to pass. That was my bad on that. So normally you just start your car up from a cold start and you drive a drive cycle. So a drive cycle is from cold and then it gets to normal operating temperature. And then you shut it off, it cools down. That's a drive cycle. So normally that's enough to run these emission tests. Now, my catalytic converter would not run that test no matter what. And ended up being my thermostat. So my thermostat was stuck open and it wasn't allowing my car ever to hit normal operating temperature. So the CAT converter would not run its test because it never hit operating temperature. So once I replaced my thermostat, which I'll put a link in the video on how to replace your thermostat because you should be doing that anyway for maintenance. And once I replaced that, I took my car out, I drove it, and my CAT converter readiness code ran and passed. The other one that is a little bit iffy, it's going to be your EVAP system. So your gas gauge has got to be between 20 and 80%. If it's a full tank, that test is never going to run. And if it's towards an empty tank, that test is never going to run either. So those are the two conditions that you need to know when you go out and get your smog test, or you're trying to run those codes if they didn't pass. The gas gauge needs to be towards the middle, and then the cat converter, on that one, you need to drive on the freeway, and then you need to slow down to about 40 miles an hour without pushing the brake. That was one of the things on there that finally got mine to run. But the thermostat was the one that was causing the issue. Now, if you have an EVAP code and it's a small leak, chances are it's going to be your gas cap. Two things, a lot of times, once you get gas, you don't get in there and you don't have it click. You need to hear that click. The second thing, that O-ring, some debris can get inside that O-ring and then cause it to leak. And the third thing, that O-ring cracks or it just gets dry. In a pinch, you can just usually lubricate that O-ring, put it in, and see if that code goes away. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.